enough to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne.
Hello YouTube. I got a video suggestion from James DJL about how I grew as a person, how I've become changed over the years in prison. So I think I'll do that as a good suggestion. But first, if you're new here, hit that subscribe. Hit that like, comment. I always try to answer all the comments. Anyway, everybody I think knows, and if you haven't, you can watch the video or say why I went to prison for killing my brother's abuser. And then there was the jail and everything. I ended up with a life sentence and 5 ran together. But they first sent me to Fulton Diagnostic and Reception Center, and that's where they test you to, figure out where they're going to send you and everything. All type of stupid IQ tests and stuff. Anyway, they sent me to Missouri State Penitentiary, aka the Walls, and it pretty much lived up to its name. What everybody's ever heard about it. It was times they called it the bloodiest 47 acres, but that was back in the 60s. But it was still bad. So I get there, and you have to fight. In that place, you had to fight. There was nobody going to do any time there without going into the hole or getting stabbed or whatever. Anyway, my first fight, I got pumped. I got beat. And the whole place, I was 17, so the whole place kind of, I was scared, I ain't gonna lie. But after I got established there, I was, came to the conclusion that, well, first of all, I had a life sentence. So, it doesn't matter. I ain't getting out. That was my thinking. I wasn't getting out. Second of all, if I came to the conclusion that everybody was going to die there. That's not true, but that's what I was thinking at the time. So, if somebody has that mindset, what can you say to them? You can't say anything disrespectful or bad or anything. Because they got an attitude, I'm going to take care of it, What I didn't know was that a group of whites were kind of fostering that in me. They wanted me to have that attitude, And one of them told me years later that it was, they said, you was a farm boy, never seen really a whole lot of violence, so we wanted you to, when we noticed it, you started thinking like that, we encouraged it, because we wanted you to make it, and that was the only way you was going to make it. The first mistake I made at the Walls was sitting on the wrong side of the chow hall. Back then, they separated the chow halls, and I went to the black side. I was lucky to have some guy come up and told me. First he told me I was in his seat, and then he tells me that I was on the wrong side, and that my kind sits on the other side. So I found a seat. There was 3 guys sitting there, and they told me I could sit there because our partner had went to the hole. And they said, "That's your seat. Don't let nobody take it from you." Somebody sits in your seat, you tell them politely that they're in your seat, and if they don't move, you blast them. You know. So I ended up getting into leathercraft, you know, that was into hobbycraft. But and we had fun down there, you know. We drank hooch, got high, and all this stuff. But my whole attitude was I wasn't going to make it. When I think it was about a month after I got there, I was coming back from the chow hall, and I see this guy, you know, as I'm walking into my side of the housing unit. There was a guy about my age at the time, about 18 and 19. He had tied 2 sheets together, apparently, and then tied one end around his neck and the other end around the rail of the top tier, and jumped. That was a shock to me, you know. I was like, what? You know, and these guys was telling me, you know, it's none of your business, just keep walking. But I was hearing other people say things like, that hole got what you deserved, you know. And from what I gathered later, that somebody robbed him of his canteen, and he told. So then they raped him, and so then he decided to take his own life. And that excuse me, that remains with me to this day, and I'll never forget it. But after 5 years, they dropped me, gave me a level 4 override, and dropped me to a 4, and they sent me to Farmington Correctional Center. There was a lot less violence there, and I mean, there was still violence on A side, but it was just more peaceful. But it's hard to explain, but I didn't like that place, you know. But I liked that there was less violence, but I just didn't like it. And B side was for child offenders, you know. Those were sex cases. I'll be honest with you, I did not like the fact that they had their own yard, can run around. I don't think it's personal opinion, but I don't think they should be in population, you know. It's just the way I feel. So that, just looking across the fence and seeing them walk around out there, it just irked me, you know. I was there from 93 to 99, and in 99, this guy tried setting this gay guy tried setting this other guy up with he had a razor blade on a toothbrush and put it in his cell. Problem is, he went and told him, you know, he sent a kite in, but they looked at the camera footage and seen him going in there. Well, he said I was involved with him. Long story short, they put me in a hole, sent me to Potosi. And Potosi is a punishment camp. It's for capital punishment, you know, those scheduled for the execution, and those there for punishment coming from other camps, prisons. If you come there because you've gotten in trouble in another prison, you're going to do 9 months in the hole. And then after that's over with, it's a step-up program. You know, you go from this wing to this wing, this housing, you gradually get more and more of your stuff back. Prison only holds 800 people, and it was the strangest prison I've ever met. Everything's connected. All the buildings are connected. The visitor room is in the middle of the prison. So your people come in, they go up, they go across, and then they come down. And they're right there in the middle of the visitor room, right next to the chapel. Another strange thing about it is there's no death row. Death row ended when they took capital punishment prisoners out of the walls and took them to Potosi. They's in population like everybody else. There's just, I don't know of any other place that has that. But I was there when 9/11 happened. You know, when I first saw it, you know, got up and turned my TV on, I thought I was watching something from a movie or something, like a movie clip. But come to find out that all these terrorist attacks, I had my theories on that too, but that's another time, I guess. Anyway, I spent 2 years there, and they sent me to Northeast Correctional Center. People normally used to say Bowling Green. It's about 60 miles north of St. Louis. And I was only there like a year and 3 months. And there you're allowed to have a key to your cell, you know. If you lose it, it's $100, they said. And you had people, if they lost their keys, you had people trying some stuff like, oh, I found your key, you can have it back for $60. And one day, I was walking around the track with this guy I knew for a long time. He was looking for his key, actually. And somebody came up and said, is this your key? I think I found your key. You looking for a key? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'll sell it to you for $60. Dude says, you can either give it to me, or I can beat your ass and take it. And then the guy said, oh, I'm just kidding, you know, I'm just joking. And he gives him his key. And they had these juveniles there. It's kind of outside the prison, but still part of the prison. And these juveniles was held there until they were like 17, 18, whatever, and then they were sent to different prisons, you know. But they're escorted to the medical and different places, and they would always talk shit to people, you know. And there wasn't nothing we could do about it, you know. So, but one day, one of the guys that was talking shit was put on the yard. Guess what happened to him? Got his ass beat. Bad. You in prison, you just don't call somebody a bitch. That's something you don't say in prison. You better be ready to fight. You better be ready to back it up. And so, I heard this commotion, and come to find out this guy was beating this guy's ass. I guess he called him a bitch or something, this young kid. And that's what happens, you know. You don't do those type of things. So then I was sent to Licking. The reason why is Licking had level 4s in it. South Central Correctional Center, what it is, but the town is Licking. And they was told it had to be a level 5, so they had to ship them all out. So what they done is people who had been at Bowling Green under a year, under 2 years, they raised their level. Just raised their level for no reason. So they sent a bunch of us to, and I guess I did this in other prisons too. Sent a bunch of us to SCCC, and by now I'm starting to see a change in the prisons. You know, there was a different type of people coming to prison. There was more snitching going on, and every once in a while you'd see a chomo in the yard, and they usually got ran off the yard. But the fact that they even tried to come to the yard is unbelievable. There's this one came to the yard, and one day we're in the gym, and this young kid comes up and just starts beating him. Nobody was looking, so he just kept beating him. His intention wasn't to kill the guy, but he did. And he was goaded into that. That's what makes me mad. There was a group of wannabe whites, you know, there's white people, they had this gang, you know, this group, thought they was a gang, and they told him to be part of our gang but you have to beat this guy up. Well, he did, and he killed him. Think them guys looked out for him? No, they really couldn't believe it happened. You know, it's sad that a guy only had 7 years left on his sentence, and now he's not going home because he was goaded into beating this guy up and killing him. So I didn't like the changes that was happening. You know, it really wasn't nothing I could do about it, because part of it has to do with they had more rules in place, and you know, but when I came to prison, it was these old heads that taught me how to do time, and now I'm seeing it change, and I wasn't the only one. There's other old heads there, and they just shake their heads, you know. I said, these guys don't know how to do time, you know. I think the one thing that really hit me hard was like around 2014, 15 or something like that, right before I got a date. I started noticing young people coming in that were they was like born like in the mid to late 90s, and that was just hard for me to fathom, you know. You're just a kid. So now I know what people thought when I went to prison. You know, I was arrested when I was 17, but I got to prison when I was 18. So I understand what they meant now, you know. It's hard to fathom that I went to prison, and there was people born after I went to prison, and now I'd come to prison. You know, it's just, that's when it hit me. And so I decided then, when I got out, I was going to try to talk to young people, you know, try to tell them they need to make right choices, you know, be careful of the decisions they make, you know. Every decision is every action you take, excuse me, has a repercussion, you know. It's like I've said before, it's like throwing a rock in the pond and the ripples going out. It affects everybody. You know, the smaller the ripples get, you know, the less people it's affecting, but it's the same thing. So that's what I want people to do. Just be careful of their decisions and don't take life for granted. You don't know what you're missing until you have it taken away from you. It's a simple ride in the car. You know, you miss that. Things like that in prison. You know, the driving, stopping at a store, things that some people nowadays, they don't even think about, or they don't want to do it. They're tired. You know, oh, I gotta go to the store today. Well, when you get out, if you go to prison, you'll appreciate those things. You know, you'll understand. So James was asking about my thought process and stuff as I've changed over the years. It's changed a lot, you know. I mean, you can't go to prison for 29 years and not be a changed person, you know. But I'd like to think that even though I couldn't show a lot of emotion over things in prison, you know, you kind of get desensitized to some things. I'd like to think that I've come out and I'm starting to show all that again, you know. Show compassion for others, want to help others, you know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you for taking your time. This is a little bit longer than normal, my usual videos. Thank you, and I'll see you again next time.